Hello, this is Dr. Myung-Sook. I'm your instructor of the SPGN 640 class, and it is very nice meeting with you. I'm just talking to myself on the screen. However, I'm just imagining, all of my students just on the screen, and then this is, I'm gonna talk. So you have, quizzes, and this is the first quiz. And only quiz I'm putting on in all of my classes, online classes. I do this one. So you can, watch and listen and answer and then understand the whole class design. So as you know, this is online class, So, I'm here. However, I'm not seeing you every week or every other week. So you pretty much self-discipline, self-management, moral planning, all kinds of cognitive powers you need to maintain yourself on top of everything. Because I believe most of you are already in the classrooms, and some of you have, already special education endorsement. However, many of you, this is the first time and first special education endorsement class. So if this is the first one, this is your initial special education endorsement, that means you did not take any of this kind of class in your undergraduate program. So this could be the first one. So the name is, you already saw that, positive behavior intervention, PBIS in UDL. So it sounds a little bit odd. However, UDL is more like a broad concept of just like behavior management. So it's more like a unified format of this program. But easy word is classroom behavior management. So pretty much in this class, you will hear all those. And this first quiz is the only one and first one and only one to make sure you understand the whole class designs and what you are supposed to do in this class, so you can successfully finish this class with a passing grade. So that is my main, goal of making this first quiz. After this quiz, you will watch many my lecture clips. I'm gonna explain, and then you watch it, and then you're gonna show, your understanding and your study in the, quiz. So I make sure you understood. If anyone not really like understood the whole class design, and it will be very difficult and very challenging, especially I believe many of you, this is the first time you take online classes, and then this is your first class in your MAT program at the EMU. Okay, so again, this is a main frame is a classroom behavior management. Okay, regardless the course topics. So classroom behavior management has two portions. So I'm going to explain that later. But classroom management and behavior management, we have a functional behavior assessment. If you have not heard that one, and then please just Google it and then search what that functional behavior assessment is. It's a FBA, and then we say behavior intervention plan, but these days we say that name as a positive behavior intervention and support plan. So some school districts still use a BIP, some school districts use a PBIP, PBIS. So I just use here PBIS, okay? However, I designed my own, system, because this is the main reason why you watch and understand, because right now, many of students in special education, they have a FBA and PBIS. However, their behavioral, emotional, challenges continued, and teachers really have a difficult time with them to get their attention and they're on task. It's really problems. And functional behavior assessment and PBIS are all based on ABA theory. ABA, and then you hear just ABA, BCBA, it's like artist-related matters, but ABA is a huge psychology areas applied behavior analysis. So we have a cognitive theory, we have a social, learning theory by Gaskins, and then, we have a behavioral theory. So this one is applied behavior analysis. So it's like a branch of behavioral psychology. So based on this ABA, it's pretty much like a Skinner. So you remember that, Skinner's experiment, so you just give, reinforcement, and then the behavior will be repeated. So that's the basic, concept. So functional behavior assessment, when we say functional behavior assessment, that means all behaviors, children's behaviors are part of communication. So we consider all student behaviors because, communication is like, once the words are out of your mouth, that is behavioral, right? Because we can watch and hear. However, anything going on in our brain, our heart, we cannot watch it. So basically, behavioral psychology, behavioral theory is they only agree with the human, only the ones you can observe and you can watch. That's a behavior, right? So functional behavior assessment means the function of a behavior. So we consider behavior is a part of a communication, child communication. So that means the behavior is a communication, is a verbal communication. So it doesn't mean that child communication means it's what child want, what child needs. That's a communication. Child could not form it properly. So child just kind of show the, behaviors. That is the main concept. So it's, any human, even, adult, some of your friends, your family members, that they may not clearly articulate their mind and their wants and their needs and their wish and intention, in language, verbal language, right? So instead of saying it, they show tantrum, they show just yell, and then they show just emotional outburst, or really just like verbally hurt you, even though they didn't mean that. So that is, or even, not only children and then adults as well. So basically, functional behavior assessment as a data collection. Functional behavior assessment is a data collection because when you have IEP meeting and then you do, functional behavior assessment, IEP meeting for functional behavior assessment, and the main data collection is to find the function of behaviors, because at the IEP meeting, you already have a target behavior. So, each IEP members, so what is the most, difficult behaviors you have to deal with? So, each members, and then they agree, and then they said, this is a target behavior we're going to work on. So data collection, many people believe it's just data collection is just watching behavior and then what behavior. It's not. Behavior is already there because the teachers already experienced, the parents already experienced. So they know what they are struggling with, the child behaviors. So functional behavior assessment is to find the function of the target behavior. So you watch it. So what is a function? That means what child try to communicate through their behaviors. When child just feels thirsty, child yell. Child feel hungry, child yell, or child just want to take a break. Instead of saying, can we have a break? Child just scream. So that's the, function of behaviors. So that function means it's a communication. However, that communication means what child really needs and wants. That is a functional behavior assessment. So it's a very behavior focused, and then very just because it's a behavior here, and then they try to find that functional behavior. But, as we all know, human beings are not that simple. So my proposal is like we have to see the holistically, the child needs and child just deficiencies, and then what child is not functioning well, because any humans not behaving right, that means it's not something not fit there in that environment. It's not child is competent learners because the school is for learning, right? So child is not competent learners. So more comprehensively, holistically, we have to see the child. That is my, program. I call the holistic educational and behavioral success protocol. That's what I named it. So you're gonna see the holistic educational success protocol. That is like and then behavioral protocol. You're gonna see that, and then so functional behavior assessment is more like your data collection, and then that is a functional behavior assessment portion. And so I just made a hyphen, and then I just added a FBA and then PBIS. So you understand what, even though there is a name I created for my own, system. As I said, I developed my own system because I see the limitation of, this functional behavior assessment. And then general education, elementary, secondary, don't have any this kind of a system. So I'm proposing to school this system, this is for every child, in the school system, whoever not fit well, and then they struggle in school system, and then we need this system. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. So your first question about this, just watch the lecture and then answer this question, is about what is a school education success framework. Okay, that's what I asked. So that is pretty much, I'm gonna share my clip and let's see, this works and you can see it. So once I'm gonna cut and then just continue the, my lecture, so you can watch each clip instead of just watching whole thing. So you're gonna watch each one and then you can answer. Okay, let me do screen share so you can watch this one. So you see, this is a school education success framework. That means school for the children in early elementary school, and then you are all in special education programs. So we have to understand what competencies the children need to function well in school as a student. Okay, so number one is a cognitive proficiency. So child during the developmental period, we call it until age 5, they start formal education. Until formal education, starting formal education, cognitive proficiency, even though it's not fully developed yet. However, Piaget's, cognitive developmental theory based on that is about, age 6 or 7 up to, end of 6. Pretty much children have, basic cognitive, parts they fully developed. So we need their complex attention. So we know attention is attention. Everybody just believes attention is just like a focus. So we need just child focus, and then child needs a motivation, and then they can focus. However, attention is a very comprehensive function, and I don't believe chapter 4, you see that your course spec chapter 4, there is, I talk about this cognitive proficiency. I didn't ask you to read and just, take a quiz or just, submit your prove your reading, because of that 7 weeks time frame constraints. It's very hard to ask you, read all of them. However, your data collection, pretty much you're gonna do all these before you do behavior, data collection. Okay, so cognitive proficiency, so attention is like a selective attention. Our ASD children with intellectual disabilities, cognitive impairment, many of children struggles mainly attention, because as you know in life, you don't pay attention, there is no learning going on, right? So it's not only learning, any work or anything, you don't pay attention, you can just tip and then you can just fall in the middle of walking. So attention is very important, especially selective attention is like a sensitivity by ASD children. So when, sensory stimuli come and came, and then children just, show their attention. So sound. And then selective attention means only relevant, meaningful information they pay attention, right? So we have a selective attention, we have a sustained attention span is a sustained attention. And then we have a focused attention, we have alternating attention. So, you can drop anything you in the middle of what you're doing, and then you can just look at the teacher when teacher just called everyone, just look at me. So they have alternating attention skills they need, and then divided attention. That's a multitasking. Most of the teachers really need divided attention, right? So that's attention. And then perceptual profiles, that means just visual attention, advanced visual attention. That is very critical, especially learning disabilities, cognitive impairment, and autism. Many of high instance disabilities have a very weakness in perceptual profiles. So you're gonna see what exactly these are in the educator directed diagnostic assessment tools in your Canvas website. I uploaded that. It's a very extensive list there. So you can scan through all that. And then your chapter 4 has all these, what each is, okay? And then academic competence, I just count literacy and numeracy because these are the basic. Yes, we have a science, we have a social studies, we have a history, we have all kinds. However, literacy, reading is very, very basic foundational learning gear to learn other academic subject, knowledge learning, right? Because school is for written language. So school's learning, school's teaching is all through written language. So we have a verbal language and then we have a written language, right? Written language. So chapter 5, I explained all this. This is another competence. So when students are not here instead of a proficiency, they have a cognitive deficiency. So that means they don't have a learning gear for academic learning, right? So they don't have a literacy skills. They don't have academic subject learning. That means they cannot digest written language. And then social emotional competence, this is all related to comprehension. So I added it here is a social, emotional, and cultural, right? So if students are not here, they don't understand that, whenever we say social emotional, you just right away think about the ASD children. However, it's not only ASD, even, no disabilities, but these days we have many children with social emotional, I don't know, delays, laggings. So it's not really sharp in social emotional functions. So we have many children there. So it's like we understand, what social cues means. I don't believe I have this chapter. I removed this chapter from the course pack, but this is very deep, very comprehensive content that we have to, work. And then, especially ASD and intellectual disabilities, we have to provide education for social emotional part. So understanding social cues, and then human interaction, and we call it like a people skills. And then I put here is empathy instead of sympathy. Empathy is just mind reading. It's somebody's mind. You read just facial expressions, they're talking, their behaviors, so you can understand that person's right now emotional mood, right? So that's we call it a mind reading, mind representation. So these are the, students need these so they can make a proper communication and conversation, and then they can do comprehension. So it's all related. It's a social emotional part is really important because we see that many ASD children, they have a beautiful reading skills. However, comprehension is always really hit for them, especially inferential comprehension, not literal text comprehension between line. We just understand those abstract conceptual part that is involved in social emotional part. So they are not competent in this area. It hit their, academic skills, especially comprehension. It's not only text comprehension, it's a real life comprehension, understanding. And then when they just converse, they understand, their, conversation partners, speech and meanings, and then they can understand. And then cognitive maturity. This is another part. Usually children have this, part when they develop, cognitive part. And we call it like a discipline at home. I know, some of teachers and some of educators, they really don't agree with, word discipline. However, it's very easy communication. Because as a teacher, school, we have education, we have a discipline. I always just divide that education and discipline. So I wrote 2 books. One is education, so it's like a curriculum. And then the other one is a discipline about this class. So that's a discipline. And then this cognitive maturity, it's just, I added the cognitive, but because it's all about the human brain's functions, about, maturity-wise, it's like a self-control, self-discipline, and then delay gratification, and then self-identity is very important, integrity. So they know who I am, and then they just control ourselves, live with ourselves well and maintain life well. Okay, so these 4 areas I say is a prerequisite for school education success. Okay, students to success in school education, they really need equip these 4 components, even though it's way more. However, just simply because it's all just like connected, connected. So there need cognitive proficiencies, it's academic learning gears, and then academic literacy skill is for other academic subject area learning, school education learning, right? And then this social emotional competence is not only about how they live in the group life, because the classroom is a peer groups, right? 1 adult, 2 adults, and then peer groups, how they survive there, how just a peer likes me, peer dislikes me, and then I act something peers like me, and peers dislike my actions and my behaviors. So those social sense, and then just making friends, those kind of skills. And then cognitive maturity, it's not only children's matters, even adults we see, and then even your peers or just your siblings and then your friends, you see not everyone has just like a matured cognitive maturity, right? So these 4 areas, I'm saying, these are the ones they need. So this is pretty much the first, lecture clips. You're gonna watch it and then understand, and then, you can take a quiz. And chapter 4, again, chapter 4, and then chapter 5 and chapter 6, I didn't give you as an assignment. However, very important foundation knowledge is there. So please just whenever you have time, just you don't have to just go deep down and memorize it, just scan through what kind of information is there. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here.